Hey guys, welcome back to another Dragonheir Silent Gods video. In today's video, I'm going to be showcasing one of the teams I'm using for the final boss of Season 2, and that is MEKKATORQUE. Before I get into that, I do just want to first say a huge thank you to Dragonheir for sponsoring my channel, and obviously sponsoring this video. So if you are interested in getting involved in Dragonheir, please do click the link in my description or the pinned comment and get involved today. So the first team I'm going to be showcasing is going to be the Burn team that I've been using. So I was fortunate enough at the start of this season to pick up 2 of the Burn legendary heroes. So I've built a team around using those. So I'm going to be showcasing that today. I have already done my runs due to the fact that this boss in Season 1 died so fast. I wanted to make sure I could get the runs done, so I've recorded them separately. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into the drilling ground and talk through the builds that I used for each team in each of these videos that I'm going to be releasing over the next few days. And then I'll cut to the run and jump back in at the end of the run and talk about how that went. So first of all, as I mentioned, the Burn team that I was using. So if we have a look here, so I was using Quasitia as my tank, Adolphus as my healer, and I've got 3 damage dealers. So first of all, my Quasitia. So she's built in the Ancestral Protection set to help keep the rest of my team alive. The damage on the tank in this fight isn't actually very extreme, so I'm not worried about her taking a little bit of extra damage, as much as she is also reducing the damage she takes. In terms of artifact, I've got her built in the Spiritual Incense Burner. The reason for that is I've not got her booked at all, so it just helps me to reduce the cooldown of my ultimate skill and get that back more frequently. So that is bringing attack penalty for my team. The other reason I've chosen to use Quasitia in this team is the fact that on her battle skill she brings fear. So for those of you who don't know, on this boss, if you use Fear, Charmed, or Blind, it will reduce the boss's damage done by, I think it's 35%, maybe 30% while that's active. So bringing that in just allowed me to make sure I was going to survive longer. I actually didn't know going into this how strong Burn was going to be, so turns out I didn't actually need that extra survivability, but nonetheless, it was built into my team. She also brought Healing Prohibition as well, which helped to gain an extra stack of the damage increased damage taken on the boss, as well as the recharging speed penalty on her passive skill. So all in all, Quasitia brought me 3 debuffs for my team, which was hugely impactful. Obviously that equates to 30% increased damage taken from the boss and all of the spawns. Next up, as I mentioned, I'm using my Adolphus as my healer. So Adolphus is built in a high enlightenment build, a relatively decent amount of skill haste. Outside of that, just defensive stats. So my Adolphus is upgraded in his skills, and he's wearing the Antonia's Tiara to increase the shield strength from his ultimate skill. I would love to use the Elminster artifact here, but unfortunately I am very slightly short of it at the moment. I will get it before the end of the event, so later in the into this endgame boss I will be using that on my Adolphus instead. So if you've got that, make sure you're using that on Adolphus. It does make a huge difference. Next up, my Holdork. So if I look at my Holdork, this is the kind of backup damage dealer I brought to my team. He was actually here for a different purpose, which I'll show you in just a second. But before that, I'll just explain the build. So I've got him built with enough accuracy to place his debuffs. So as you can see, he's in a broken set of Mona Lisas and Inventors. That's to make sure I'm getting the crit rate I need and also a bit of an additional attack. In terms of artifacts, I'm wearing the Arcane Music box. The reason for that is because I've got Adolphus in my team, I'm getting very frequent shields, and the 20% damage bonus when under a shield is quite impactful. Obviously it does impact his battle skill and his ultimate skill instead of just his ultimate or his battle, from using either the Eyeball of the Giant or the, where's the battle skill one, Manticore statue. So that gave him a 20% bonus across all of his skills. So the real reason he came into my team is for the fact that on his battle skill, he inflicts blind. I've already spoken about that with Quasitia, the additional damage reduction that it brings. Also though, he is a backup attack penalty for me, and as well as that, he's bringing accuracy penalty 2 on his ultimate skill, which once again is another 10% damage buff the boss is going to take. So outside of that, he is just there as kind of a pseudo damage dealer. He's not booked at all. I wasn't really sure going into this how much damage to expect from him, so I'll show you that in the run. I was very happily surprised by the amount of damage he was able to put out. Next up, we've got Durum. So Durum is my burn enabler, but also he brings damage buffs for my Adolphus. Obviously, burns are once again another enabler for my Ashetius, not my Adolphus. But the burns are an extra damage an extra debuff that's just going to increase my damage further. So I've got him built in a general damage build. As you can see, 96% crit rate, relatively low crit damage, but I did need the accuracy too. And he's also wearing Witch's Remains because of the multi-hit ultimate skill. I am placing that very frequently on all of the ads that spawn. But yeah, he is wearing the Inventor set because of the damage boost it gives as well. Lastly, I've got my Ashetius. So unfortunately, I don't have the ultimate, exclusive artifact for him. So he is wearing the Eyeball of the Giant artifact. He's built in just a general damage build, 196% crit damage, very high amount of attack, and a relatively good amount of crit damage. Outside of that, it's obviously he is skilled, so he's doing a lot of damage, and his aura is the aura I use for this fight, so 30% increased attack in all battles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into the run now. You'll see the positioning just before the fight starts, and then I'll jump back in at the end of the run, and we'll talk about how that went. And there we go. So as you can see, this team did last the full 8 minutes, dealing 212 million damage, nearly 213 million, which is quite crazy. In my opinion, it was the first team I actually tested out, so I was really surprised with how much damage that did. I did do some testing beforehand of other teams when I actually did the saved run, but this was the first one that I experienced this boss with. As you can see, my Ashetius did 129 million damage on his own, with Durham doing 42 million, and then Holdork coming in with 34 million as well. The damage he was dealing to those ads when they were spawning really impressed me. I didn't expect anywhere near that. I imagine obviously if his skills were upgraded, it would be even more. Obviously it would be even more. But yeah, all in all, I was really happy with this team, and obviously it hit the damage cap of 200 million. Anything after that is reduced by 90%. So at that point, it goes up very slowly, as you probably would have seen towards the end of the fight there. I was going from gaining at least 10 million on Ashetius' ultimates to only just about gaining 1 million each time he used his ultimate skill. So yeah, that is all for this team and all for this video. So I'll leave that there. The next video I will be showcasing another team, and obviously over the next few days I'll be showcasing all 6 teams that I am using to get the damage that I'm currently doing. I might tweak them over the next few days, in which case I'll obviously record those teams again, but this one is probably very set in stone. So yeah, that is all. So thank you very much for watching, guys. The only other thing is, once again, just a huge thank you to Dragonheir Silent Gods for sponsoring my channel and sponsoring this video. And as I mentioned at the start, if you are interested in getting involved and giving it a try, please do hit the link in the description, and I'll see you in the next video.